Finally, we're back. Pick 5, win 5. Come on now, you guys know I had to do it to him. You know I had to bring back the best series on this channel for the biggest game of the NFL season, Super Bowl 58 between the Chiefs and the Niners. And basically, for those of you who don't know, I'm here to talk about my 5 favorite betting picks for the big game. Now, we've got a whole bunch of options. We got all the standard major markets and props, and then we've got novelties. We've got stuff that you'll find on offshore books, like the color of the Gatorade, or if Taylor Swift shows up before or after 8 p.m., all that stuff. But I tell you what, we are only here to talk about the best of the best. The bottom line, the main goal for this video is to make as much money as we can by the end of the Super Bowl, and hopefully we're going to be able to do that with some of these picks here. Now, guys, before I jump into the meat of this video, if you are, a subscriber, if you're a supporter of me, if you're happy to see the return of the series, or if you're new to the channel, no matter what it is, just drop a like on the video, drop a comment as well, really helps me out. And if you want to be locked in for more, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be coming out with more daily NBA betting content once the Super Bowl wraps up, and then when MLB comes back around, that's where the Pick 5 Win 5 started. That's where most of you guys came from, and we're going to jump right back into it when the time comes. Okay, now that all that stuff is out the way, we got to talk about the picks, baby. Just quick overview. We know this is a rematch of Super Bowl, what would that be, 54. The Chiefs won that one 31-20. They played last year. I forget who won. It was like week 17. The Niners come in as favorites, but the Chiefs have been outstanding as underdogs. We know about the quarterback battle, the defensive battle, the coaching matchup. It's going to be a good game. Okay, bottom line, I don't think there are bad picks in this game. Now, I might disagree with you. You might disagree with me. That's okay. But I think this is a relatively even-ish matchup, and I think that, like I said, no bad picks. But we're going to see where we agree and where we disagree, and we're going to start it off with my first pick. And it's fitting that we go with the man that's been in the news for most of the season, but especially in recent weeks, Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown scorer. Now, Kelce's track record in the postseason is sublime. It's phenomenal. It's unimpeachable. Whatever adjective you want to use for it, it's that. In 17 postseason games with Mahomes, he's scored 18 touchdowns. He scored 3 in his last 2 games, one against the Bills defense, which is pretty good, and one against the Ravens defense, which is pretty good. Actually, 2 against the Bills, but you get the point. He also leads the Chiefs in all postseason receiving categories. So, targets, catches, yards, touchdowns, all of it. And he has scored in 2 of the 3 Super Bowls he's played in. So literally everything as far as trends goes is telling you to back Kelce here. Just looking at the eye test, I think you've seen him, first of all, take his game to a new level. He wasn't great at the end of the regular season. He went 7 straight games without a touchdown, but he looks like a man reborn in the playoffs. And I also think you're seeing some of the play calling and Mahomes' decision making. He's trying to funnel the offense more through Kelce. And again, you're feeling the effects of that. He led the team in targets and catches in 2 of the 3 games, leads them overall throughout the postseason, like I already said. And look, this is the biggest game of the year, okay? The Chiefs, their offense looks much better than it did in the regular season, but still, they want to stick to the guys that they trust. We're not going to all of a sudden see them throwing 50-yard bombs to Justin Watson, or they're not going to be running, wheel routes with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, stuff like that. They want to get the ball to Kelce, especially near the goal line. He's going to get a ton of looks. He's the most trusted player on this team, not named Patrick Mahomes, and I think it's only right that he gets in the end zone. Let me know if I'm wrong on this one. We're actually also going to talk about some props that missed the cut later on, and there's another Kelce prop that I am looking at, so stick around if you want to hear what that is. My second official pick of the Pick 5 Win 5. Christian McCaffrey under 18.5 rushing attempts. Now, he went over this line in the NFC Championship. He rushed it 20 times, or ran it 20 times, I should say, but he actually went under this line in 6 straight games before that, and he went under in 11 of 18 games this season overall. When I think about the Niners, obviously they want to run the ball, but they're going against a defense that is really good. Now, I know the Chiefs have had some problems defending against zone run schemes, and that is going to be obviously at the front of mind, but when I consider what Steve Spagnuolo, the Chiefs defensive coordinator, has been able to do throughout the postseason, he's forced every team he's faced to play a style of game they didn't want to. You go look back at the wild card, Tua Tagovailoa enters that game with an average yards per attempt of 8.3. He finishes with 5.1. In the next round, Josh Allen, what's his mantra basically? He can make these crazy explosive plays, but he's going to turn the ball over. Well, Josh didn't turn the ball over, but he also didn't complete a pass of more than 15 yards. The Chiefs scored 27 points in 22 minutes in that game, and the Bills' lack of explosiveness really hurt them at the end of the game. And then, looking at the AFC Championship game, Baltimore had the top-ranked rushing attack in the whole league. They only ran the ball 16 times, picked up 81 yards, and running backs only carried the ball 6 times. Now, I think the Niners are going to be more committed to the run than the Ravens did, which is still baffling coaching malpractice by Todd Monken, but I think the Chiefs are going to be up for the task. I think they're going to know if we can slow down this running game from the onset. Sure, the Niners are going to get McCaffrey involved in the passing game. We're going to see screen passes. We're going to see dump offs and short stuff and swing passes and all that good stuff. But if they can hold him to 2-3 yards per attempt, and McCaffrey wasn't great in the NFC Championship game. He wasn't great. He had a couple of chunk runs, which really boosted his average, but Detroit did a good job defending against him early on. If the Chiefs can do that and also jump out to a lead, I think they put themselves in a pretty good position there. Now, I'm not saying to bet the under on McCaffrey's yards, and I think his rushing plus receiving might actually be a spot to go over, but my favorite McCaffrey bet is the under on his rushing attempts, 18.5 of them specifically. My third pick here, and this one's the most, I don't want to call it boom or bust. It's the biggest long shot that we've got on here. George Karlaftis to have the most sacks in the game. Now, again, this isn't my big money bet here. I'm not throwing a ton of units behind this, but when I look at the value on this one, about 5-6 to 1 odds, I think there's a really good chance this hits. Certainly for the value, I think it's a risk you should be taking. When I look at Karlaftis, Chris Jones, and Nick Bosa, the 3 best pass rushers in this game. And I excluded Chase Young for a reason. As a Commanders fan, we knew he wasn't going to help them out, and you're seeing that. Apparently, he might not even start in the Super Bowl. Karlaftis, Bosa, Jones. All 3 of them had 10.5 sacks in the regular season. So they're all right there, even. You can't differentiate them. In the playoffs, Karlaftis has the most sacks of them all. Now, you can say Bosa has played 1 less game, and that is true. He's only played 2 games. He's got 2 sacks. Karlaftis has 2.5 sacks in 3 games. But when I think about this matchup, the Niners have an outstanding offensive line. Well, no, let me back up. They have an outstanding left tackle, but the rest of their offensive line isn't great. According to Pro Football Focus, it's only 21st in the league. Now, they do a good job hiding some of those deficiencies, going back to the whole zone run blocking scheme and their reliance on the run game, or their commitment to it, I should say. So they're able to hide some of their deficiencies with pass blocking. But if the Chiefs go up at any point and, maybe it's late in the game and Purdy's got to air the ball out, all of a sudden you're going to see Karlaftis probably on the opposite side of Trent Williams, going one-on-one with a guy in Brock Purdy who, is mobile, but not a runner necessarily. I know he had some good runs against the Lions, but he's not a runner. And I feel like that sets up well. Chris Jones is going to be double-teamed a lot of the time. He's going to be the main guy they're trying to slow down. So again, Karlaftis is kind of the secondary threat, considering he was right there with Bosa and Jones in the regular season, has outperformed them both in the playoffs, had a strip sack and recovered the fumble, I believe, in the AFC Championship game. This feels like a great play here. It really does. And if you want to take this to an extreme, you can bet Karlaftis to win Super Bowl MVP for plus 10,000. If you're someone like me who thinks this game is going to go under and is probably going to be a little bit more defensive minded, then it might be worth betting a defensive player because you're going to get some crazy odds for it. Now, I will say defensive player has not won Super Bowl MVP since 2014. So again, don't put your mortgage on it, but just something to keep in mind. That's my third pick. My fourth pick, and this one's interesting. I really like this one. I'm actually really excited to talk about it. No score for the first 6 minutes of the game. So that means that, if they score at 6:01, that's fine. Or I guess it would be 8:59 in the first quarter. Any point after 9 minutes, we're cool. This bet cashes. This is an interesting bet because the Niners hit this game and hit this bet in 3 of their last 4 games. Now, they trended under for the season as a whole, or trended under. I don't know what I'm trying to say. They didn't hit this bet more times than not. So you would be fading them for the season as a whole, but they've been trending towards it again 3 of their last 4 games. For the Chiefs, this actually hit in 15 of all 20 games they played. So it's been much more of a moneymaker for them. And then looking at recent Super Bowls, it hit in 6 of the last 7. Now, I think we can explain this partially because it's the Super Bowl. Teams, they're not going to be, sometimes you'll see a team like in week 11 come out and their first play is a 50-yard bomb because they're trying to catch the defense napping. there's a very, very small likelihood that happens in the Super Bowl. You don't want to make a mistake, especially early on in the game. You don't want to start behind the 8 ball. And also just thinking about the styles of offenses these teams have, we've talked about it with like 3 of these picks already. The Niners want to lean into their run game, and, McCaffrey's great. He's probably going to win Offensive Player of the Year. Hasn't been announced at the time I'm recording this. Probably will be out by the time you hear it. But he's not somebody he's not like MVP Adrian Peterson, who was just busting 80-yard runs every time. And again, with the Chiefs coming in of that focus of trying to slow him down, I think there's a chance the Niners, maybe get a first down or 2 and then punt, or they go 3 and out, something like that. And then when the Chiefs have the ball early on, they've been more committed to the run game than they have at any point throughout their dynasty years. Isaiah Pacheco's been killing it recently. I think they're going to give him a heavy workload, and they really haven't asked Mahomes to be a deep ball threat. We know he has it, and he can put the cape on late in the game if he needs to, but his yards per attempt and long passes and all that stuff, his numbers are way down. So I just think this makes a little too much sense here. And when you also think about both defenses being top 3 in points allowed and both offenses being top 10 in average time of possession, what does that mean? It means we get longer possessions, sustained drives with fewer points scored. It just makes a lot of sense here, in my opinion. I will say the one thing you should probably be concerned about, if a team gets to like the 30, then you want them to score a touchdown, because if they get stuffed and they kicked a field goal, it's probably going in. So you would want them to extend that drive, maybe make it like a 8-minute drive and then a touchdown rather than a 5-minute drive and a field goal. But again, it just makes a lot of sense. The trends are saying to do it. The logic says to do it. I think that's a good play. So my 4th pick, no points, first 6 minutes. My 5th and final pick of the Pick 5 Win 5, Brock Purdy over 0.5 interceptions. Now, I've caught some flack for my Purdy stance. Just to go on the record here, I think Purdy's probably somewhere around 13 to 14 in quarterback rankings across the league. I know people say that I have him too low. A lot of people say that. Some people think it's too high. Look, I just recognize that Purdy doesn't have a bunch of talent, and I'm not saying that he hasn't done a tremendous job. The guy's awesome. This is his 2nd year. Okay, he's the 3rd youngest quarterback to ever start a Super Bowl. He's going to get better, and he's exceeded all expectations far and away. Blow them out the water. He doesn't deserve to be criticized at the level he is. It's just unfortunate that he's kind of caught in the national headline news. But the bottom line is I respect Brock Purdy. That said, what I have seen from him against those good defenses he's played has not been a whole lot of excellence. He played 2 top 5 defenses this season. He threw 5 interceptions, 1 of them against the Browns and then 4 of them against the Ravens. So obviously that means at least 1 in both of those games. And in this game, the Chiefs defense, they're going to get after him. They finished 2nd in the regular season in sacks per game, gave up the 2nd fewest points and the 2nd fewest yards. At a certain point, is it possible they generate pressure? He's a little smaller. We've seen his hand get batted and he's thrown interceptions. It happened, I believe, against the Ravens, and I know it happened against the Lions as well in the NFC Championship game. The Chiefs have forced interceptions in 2 of 3 playoff games so far, picked off Tua and Lamar. It's just something, again, like, it's not a guarantee here, and I think Kyle Shanahan's going to try to protect Purdy, but I do just feel like he is prone to mistakes. He really should have had a few interceptions against the Packers. They dropped a couple of them, and boy, it probably cost themselves a chance at the game there. But Brock Purdy over 0.5 interceptions. That's my 5th and final pick. What's happening? That's a whale. We've got a whale alert. A whale alert. Kansas City Chiefs money line. Take it to the bank. The Chiefs money line. The Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl, okay? Forget the Pick 5. We got the 5 props. This is the whale. This is what you put all of your money on within reason. I always got to advocate for responsible gambling. This is where you go. Look, the 49ers, who was the best team from weeks 1 to 18 in the NFL? The whole NFL. Forget this matchup. Put every team in there. It was the 49ers. If it wasn't the Ravens, it was the 49ers, certainly. The Niners were way better than the Chiefs in the regular season. I'm not here to debate that. But when I think about, quite literally, everything that goes into determining a playoff matchup, well, who has the better quarterback? Kansas City. Who has the best unit in this game? The Kansas City defense. Who has the better coach? It's Andy Reid. And look, Kyle Shanahan's an offensive genius, sure, but he's also 1-31 when entering the 4th quarter trailing. You know, what are you going to say about that? And he's also blown multiple big leads. He blew what was it? He blew a 7-point lead against the Rams in the NFC Championship game when they won the Super Bowl. He was in charge of that offense on the Falcons that blew the 28-3 lead to the Patriots. And when these teams faced off in the Super Bowl 4 years ago, the Niners were up 20 to 10 going into the fourth quarter, and then the Chiefs scored 3 touchdowns unanswered in the fourth quarter to win that one. Is that what happened? I know the Niners were up 10 points. I don't know if it was 20 to 10. I know they were up 10 points. The bottom line is ahead Kyle Shanahan is a risk, behind Kyle Shanahan is a risk, okay? He's a genius. They could win this game. I'm not saying it's lopsided. I'm not saying it's a blowout, but I have so much confidence in the Chiefs. If you want to be safer, take them on the spread, go for it. As long as this line stays under 3 points, I don't think it really matters that much. When you look at these trends, though, I mean, Patrick Mahomes in his career, 11-1-1 against the spread, 10-3 straight up as an underdog. The Chiefs have also been much better against the spread over the course of the season. They're 12-7-1, and I believe the Niners, I think they're 9-10, 10-10, 9-10, one of the two. Actually, it's 9-10. I know it is. And also, these are just interesting numbers from recent Super Bowls. Getting these off. I wrote these down earlier because I wanted to make sure that I had them prepared here. Underdogs are 12-12 in Super Bowls since 2000. However, they are 9-5 since 2010. So we've seen a lot of upsets recently. Underdogs have also covered in 7 of the last 10 Super Bowls, and 13 of the last 14 Super Bowl champions actually covered the spread. So again, this line is under 3 points. It's not that significant. If you like the Chiefs to cover, you probably like the Chiefs to win, especially considering if you like them to cover, probably means Mahomes is making a play at the end of the game. And again, I don't think they would lose in that scenario. Now, one thing that does work in the Niners' advantage here, teams that finish with more rushing yards are 42-15 in Super Bowls. Obviously, the Niners were 3rd in rushing yards this regular season. The Chiefs did not hit that level. However, the Niners ran for more yards when they played 5 or 4 years ago, and the Chiefs still won that game. Teams that average more yards per attempt are also 44-13 straight up. Though this did not hold up last year, the Eagles actually averaged more yards per attempt than the Chiefs did, and they lost. In the regular season, Brock Purdy averaged more yards per attempt than Patrick Mahomes. So something to keep an eye on there, but Chiefs are my pick. Their defense is outstanding. I think they're going to get to Purdy. I think this is a Chiefs money line and under for the game overall, and then all the props we mentioned. Some props that didn't make the cut, just want to put those out there. Travis Kelce over 70.5 receiving yards. Look, I almost included this. I only wanted to go with one Kelce prop just for entertainment value, but Kelce beat this line in 12 straight playoff games. You know, I don't need to say a whole lot. Again, he leads the Chiefs in every major receiving category. The dude's awesome. Yeah, there's probably a good chance he goes over this line. A quarterback to complete their first 10 passes, you can get this for plus 550 odds. Has not happened in a Super Bowl yet, so it's a risk. But Brock Purdy was 2nd in the league in completion percentage. Mahomes completed 11 straight passes to open the game against the Ravens, who had the best defense in the league. So something you might want to look at. And then under 22.5 first half points, you can get this for even odds. The Chiefs averaged 10 first half points in the 3 Super Bowls they've been to recently, and the Niners only scored 7 points in the first half of both playoff games they played this season. But guys, that is going to do it for this Super Bowl edition of Pick 5, Win 5 with the added bonus at the end. The Chiefs money line, that's the one that I'm going heavy on. Guys, it's the Super Bowl. We're going to have fun. If you're someone like me and you've got a bunch of props and picks and all that, just identify the ones that you really like. Make sure you budget your bankroll accordingly with those. Don't put 20 picks all at max value or anything like that. Again, manage your money, be smart, have your bets that you're really trying to win, and then if you want to, have some entertainment bets on the side. The ultimate goal here is to make money, but I can't guarantee any of these bets hit, so don't blind tail me. Don't throw a 20-pick parlay together. I hate to burst your bubble. Your 20-pick parlay is not going to win. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Before you do, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more content, jump in the comments, let me know what your favorite picks are, and of course, let me know who wins this game. I will catch you all in the next one. Have a great day.